I know the kind of pain you're feeling, Alex. I once had it myself.
You some kind of doctor?
No, Alex. I am Magneto, and I have come to offer you sanctuary.
Welcome to Season 3 of the Grounded Futures podcast. This is the show where we discuss topics that are important to our collective survival and thrival. We also dig into ways youth, and anyone really, can gain new skills to thrive amid current and ongoing disasters. This season's meta theme is all about trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in our work and art, and trust in each other. We are your hosts, William and Carla.
Welcome to our show. We produce Grounded Futures on Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh lands, but our guests are from around the world. A big thank you to Zach Bergman for our show music, and a big thank you to Robin Carrico for our show art.
And before we start today's show, here is a short jingle from one of our pals over at Channel Zero Network.
What's up, y'all? I'm Pearson, host of Coffee with Comrades. Coffee with Comrades is rooted in militant joy. Our hope is to cultivate a warm and inviting atmosphere, like walking into your favorite coffee shop to sit down with some of your close friends and share a heart-to-heart conversation. New episodes premiere every Tuesday, so be sure to smash that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. We are proud to be a part of the Channel Zero Network.
Today we are joined by the wonderful Khari McClelland. Imaginative, bold, genuine, hopeful, Khari is an award-winning musician and creative facilitator who uses the arts and experimental activities for transformational learning. Based in Vancouver, Canada, Khari has worked with communities across Africa, Australia, Europe, North America, and the Caribbean. In a world with increasingly complex societal challenges, the need for values-based creative solutions is paramount. Khari helps youth and adults explore core values and creativity as a means to self-actualization, community building, and problem solving. His approach is warm, insightful, and engaging. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. What a pleasure. What an honor.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here. Thanks. I love that bio. It just captures who you are and who I've had the pleasure to share in community with. It's beautiful. And thank you. I'm so grateful that you said yes to open our third season because, you know, the world's a bit hard right now and you just bring just such bright light and pockets of joy. And so thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I wanted to just, this is going to lead to a question, but when I first saw you, you were singing with the Roots Gospel group, the Sojourners, at I think a protest up at Clark Park. And I was I was getting to that point where protests were feeling not particularly a generative space for me. And seeing you three and hearing you three and what that did to the crowd, it was like this new moment of enlivening. And so we can talk a bit about that in a sec, about your music stuff. But and then of course we did some other things along the way. But the thing that isn't what's the word, etched in my soul is that you said yes to come to the closing of the Thistle and sang Lean on Me with all of us, and we all sang along. And I just people who listen to the show know how much the Thistle was for me and what it meant to me. And so
many people.
Thank you so much for that moment. And it's in our film too, so everyone gets to see it over and over again of you singing that song. Thank you for that. Thank you. So speaking of music, this is sort of a two-parter, but I always go look at people's Twitter, and in your Twitter, all you have there is, for you, I'd have to lay down my sword and shield, which I think that might be a Mahalia Jackson song line, or is there a reason why? Like, I'm just so curious. I like to ask why people like that. I think that's a spot where you're saying something you really want people to hear. And
I think whether I'm not a really religious person, but
Mhm.
it's so funny. I've like been drawn into, um, doing traditional African American music. It came later in my life that I started to lean in that direction, and I think part of what I got from it was like listening to people like Mahalia Jackson and just like listening to the honesty of her conviction, the honesty of her emotive belief. And like I understand a very similar tangent in punk music. I feel that I really feel that just like, oh, I really feel like who's in front of me is telling their truth. The life they've lived, the experiences they've had, the wounds, the like they're telling me the truth of what they feel. And so I think that's what led me in the direction of singing that kind of music, and what comes with that, and like just being brought up in a place where I was surrounded by a lot of poor Black people. There's a lot of religiosity in those communities, even though my specific family didn't go to church. But those kinds of references, lay down your sword and shield. Um, those are calls to peace. Those are imaginings of a future where we won't have violence and coercion, and punitive measures as the main way that we deal with difference, as the main way that we deal with conflict, as the main way that we deal with disagreement. Um, and so I think maybe that's what I was getting at.
That's amazing, though. I love it.
That's beautiful that you
Mhm.
trust how people show up. I mean, and they're going to be, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I love, yes, the connection to punk, right? For sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was actually going to lead into get you to unpack a bit about where music began for you, but do you want to sort of, oh no, you have the next question. Sorry, we're just back at it after a hiatus.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I guess like when did it all begin for you? Like when did you start writing and singing, and what came first? And I'm kind of curious about like how it connected to creating better worlds, and how you see that as an increasing justice, and your community work as a not just a facilitator for everybody, but we're always particularly interested in how did that shows up with youth as well.
Yeah, so I think I hear like a couple. I feel like I heard like maybe 2 or 3 questions in there. So
yeah, I do that. So just ask for clarity if you need.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you what I think I heard. What
Okay.
one was like, where does my songwriting come from? Like how do I engage with creativity? How does that relate to like my care for community? Um, so I think were those the main 2 kind of things?
Yeah, and how it connects. Like,
And how that
how does the
connects,
song
yeah.
run through all this work?
Yeah, so one thing that I'm kind of interested in right now is like, how do I honor the people and the communities of my making, which actually includes you. Um, like, but it also includes like the 15-year-old Black boys that I grew up around. It also includes my grandma and Sister St. Clair down the block. My grandfather who's still here. My sister who I just spoke with. How do I honor them? And why to honor them? And like part of when I thought about like 15-year-old Black boys, I was just thinking about like, whoa, what a creative, vibrant space that was for me. That there was constantly creativity, laughter, through dance, through music, through we were constantly rapping, improvised lyrics. I grew up also singing in choirs and doing music and stuff like that, mostly through school. Some music tutelage at home and stuff like that. So like when I think about like where does creativity come from, I think it is just like to be human is to be creative, to allow yourself that privilege is really where it's at. Like, do you allow yourself to take the liberty of your own body and your own experience to actually allow it to be transmitted to others? And is there a community that is willing to witness you and receive you in that way? And I think that's something to seek if you don't have it. Because there are people who want that too. It's good to find that community of people who can witness you, and be in the banter of that play, that creative play. So when I think about like where do my songs come from and what does my creative process come from, I think it comes from something that's internal and ancient, but it also comes from something that is about the interplay of people and communities of practice. And then like, how does that relate to like social justice and that kind of work? I mean, it's interesting. I feel like maybe it's part of getting older, maybe it's part of being a new parent, but I feel so much less an expert. Like I feel like when I was younger, I really thought I knew exactly what the answers might be. And it's not that I haven't lost my sense of what some of those answers might be, but it's like I'm also just I'm so into the possibility of me being wrong. And that the kind of Western linear mapping for consequence, intention, action, consequence, and outcome, like I think we all have to use our agency to try to build the world that we want to see. But I think we all have to be ready for being wrong. Because the forces that are at play are much larger than I think, at least me, I have the capacity to fully wrap my head around. There are many forces of inertia moving in different directions that are connected to the natural forces of the universe as well, but also just like people and movement and political thought and social thought and movements all happening simultaneously, so that the thing that I thought was the best idea that was going to solve everything might actually make things worse. And I have to be okay with switching course. I don't know, all of that to say like my relationship to like, what does it mean to be a just person, to be working towards justice, to understand what that relates to in a community. I'm just it's become much more localized for me. I think COVID did that. I think becoming a parent did that. It's like, how can I be in good relationship with my partner? How can I be in good relationship with my child? How can I be in good relationship and right relationship with the neighbors in my co-op? Maldan Co-op. Cooperative living is amazing. Yeah, how can I do that? And like, how might those people actually help to guide my understanding of what is right and just? As opposed to like something that is very far off and philosophical, towards something that is much more praxis or action, inactioned in my daily life, so that it's more like a practice, that the justice that I'm trying to build and seek is relational, and I actually have the opportunity to practice it regularly. So a really long answer to you know, to how social justice, and then how those things connect. I'm still figuring it out, you know. I'm trying to do creative projects with, you know, with people that I respect and that I have relationship with. And so, yeah, I hope that was a useful answer.
That was a great answer. Yeah, definitely. It's very justice begins at home and all that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right
It's
where we
really-
live.
Right
Yeah.
where we live. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. You just really connected a whole pile of. It's funny you talk about it, the inertia of like the complexity and the horrors and including the movement stuff, but you just really brought it down to its heart, and so thank
Mhm.
you for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Just okay. That
You kind of
actually,
spoke a bit to this, but
yeah, you spoke a bit to it, but this is a good way to lead to the next question,
Mhm.
which is my whole life I've definitely been someone to just sing all the time, just randomly
Yay.
and all that kind of stuff. And since you are a singer and songwriter, I mean, not to get all Elton John here, but the song is your gift.
it's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I'm wondering if you can share some advice for folks to find
Mm.
their voice and song and ways to nurture it more.
mm.
Mhm.
It's your right. It's yours.
That's
Hmm.
amazing.
You don't need to ask permission. You are born worthy. You know, you don't need to. What is that Mary Oliver thing? You don't need to get on your knees begging the da 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 da. You know, like you are worthy of your voice. Um, yeah. Use it in the service of yourself and others. You'd be shocked at um, how powerful and inspiring and useful and healing it is for others to hear your voice. It is, again, like part of what I was saying about punk and about gospel music, black gospel music for me. Part of what I get from those particular, I think jazz sometimes has this quality too, but it is not valuable because it's pretty. It is not valuable because it's perfect. It is valuable because it is an honest attempt at um, sharing with the world what is felt through the experience of being a human being and a human body moving through this life, which can be really challenging, you know, because of, you know, the larger systemic forces, but also the challenge of being in interpersonal relationship, but also the challenge of just being with yourself. So I think, yeah, using your voice, it's a healer. It's proven. And to deny yourself that opportunity is to deny yourself a healing. So that's my, you know, again, and then find people who can witness you if that's what you want. If you want to witness, find people who can witness you, and like, you know, also have a sense of humor about it all. Like, don't be so serious about how you're supposed to be. And also, you know, stop comparing yourself to some specialized group of people who are in the media, whether it be social or the radio or the whatever the thing, you know, the streaming. Yeah, now we have like this thing where it's like, oh, there's an elite core of people who are allowed to sing. But for millennia and millennia, it has been our healing. It has been our way of being human again. It's our way of understanding the universe. It is a completely abstractive form too, and yet it is so moving and so tangible at the same time. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That was amazing. Music is such a big thing in our house.
A
Yeah.
gift.
A
Oh,
gift. That is a great answer. That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of feelings right now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
same.
Yeah.
I always felt, oh, I can't sing because I'm not trained and all these kind of things. But it's like, it's not what it's about. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Really good answer.
Beautiful. Speaking of music,
Yeah.
would you be okay if we played one of your songs on this episode?
Absolutely.
We put it into the editing, of course.
Yeah, we'd
Not
put it
for
in.
you.
We'd put it in here, but I'm going to the one we're listening to a lot right now because it literally lifts us up. Is Feels Real Good.
Awesome.
And if you're okay with us sharing that song, I'm curious if you, before everyone listens, hello listeners, can you maybe tell a little bit about, what drew that song out or where it came from or why you released it, at this time?
Absolutely. Like one thing I would say is like, I really think the video experience is really powerful. So if you have an opportunity to check out the video, please do. It happened just before the pandemic. So the video, you'll see like people, community dancing together, there's something that was so genuinely just sweet and beautiful about the space that we were able to hold together. It also shows a lot of the natural world, and myself relating to the natural world, and also the repercussions of humans on land, and so anyway, check out the video if you can. And then in terms of like, why this song and why this time for that song. I mean, I had the music for that song and I had this idea of Feels Real Good, but I didn't actually have the lyrics. And then I went into the studio and I just was like, I didn't have much prepared around it. And I just was like, I got this groove and these notes, and it just feels good to be inside this groove. I just want to do something with it. And we went in there and laid down like a bed track. For people who don't know what that is, it's just like kind of like the music behind the verse. And so I had that and I was like, okay, I've got to go back in the studio tomorrow and lay down a whole bunch of lyrics. And I had nothing at the time. And I woke up in the morning, maybe 5, 6 in the morning. This is before I had a little person in my house. 5 or 6 in the morning, and I just went for a long walk. I just walked and walked and walked and walked. Oh, now it's coming to me. Before that, I'd gone on the internet, on social media, on Facebook. I generally have a real dislike for a lot of social media, but this was like a good moment for its use. I just asked people, what do you do when you're feeling up against it? Like when you're feeling overwhelmed, when it's really hard, what do you do to resource yourself? And I just took everybody's answers, and that was the lyrics for the song. So it's actually a community, it's a community art piece, basically. It's like me just like taking all the little pieces of different people's lyrics, jotting them down, and then like figuring out like how can they work together? How can they be together? So it is a representation of like, the beauty, the sweetness of collective effort. And so, that's what I can say about that song.
That is beautiful.
No wonder it's so uplifting. It's like, we just like, no matter what kind of mood we're in, we put it on and we just start dancing and singing along. Like, the one line, it's for the smiles you give me when I was down. And there's just one after another. Enjoy, listeners.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is.
And this is for you and all that you do. For all the things this life has put you through. This is for the loved ones past and present. For the mirror of your love
heaven sent, for never giving up on me, for helping me to get free, for loving me as I am, supporting me to be the best me. This for the smiles you gave me when I was down, for the times you picked me up and handed me my starry crown. I'll never forget all that you have done for me. No, no, no. Never forget the sweet memories, the sound of the waves on the sea, the smell of your skin like therapy, forest walks and cedar trees. Loving you is easy, and it feels good. It feels real good. Don't you know it feels good? So good, yeah. You know it feels real good. Feels so good. Feels real good. Oh, you know it feels real good.
So good.
Real good, real good, real good. You know you make me feel real good. Real good, real good, real good. You know you make me feel real good. Real good, real good, real good. You know you make me feel real good. For this body, this mortal coil, like seeds in soil, a timeless love unspoiled. You see me when I can't see myself. Pulled my love up off the shelf. You know you make me feel real good. Sailing across the waves of time for these precious moments, your hand in mine. You know you make me feel real good. The voices of our children singing in chorus, joy bells ringing for us. You know you make me feel real good.
These days of woe,
All the bread we break, all the time we take. You know time is short, for goodness sake. This life with a gift to share. This moment, this fire will always be there. Eternal flame, natural height type of thing. Your love sustains, unparalleled connector of all things. I am because of you, you are my shining star. You give me the strength and power. You're the maximum shield in a meteor shower. Yeah, and you make me feel so good. In spite of the darkness in these days of woe, you give me the strength to push this heavy load. Give me the power to overcome what I can't take no more. You give me the fearless melodies to set the shackles free. Sing liberty songs in harmony in these days of woe. You know you make me feel real good.
so these days of woe.
Yes, you give me that natural high. Help me breathe deep and exhale with a sigh. 'Cause it is what it is, yes it is. You make me feel so good. Yes, yes. You make me feel so good.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, so good. Is the joy bells you ring?
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Mhm. Okay. We are grounding this season in the ideas and action around trust, how to grow trust in ourselves and how to make art / create, and in how we connect with others, etc. So with that, how does trust animate your life?
Wow, I just feel tearful when I don't know why. But I think part of it is, it's being with yourself. I think that's part of why I feel tearful as I hear the question is, what does it mean to trust oneself? And how do you develop that trust? And I think part of what you have to do is be forgiving of yourself. And I think you also have to be willing to actually fail and to accept that there will be it won't always be smooth. There will be moments where it will be crunchy, And it's how we show up actually to the crunchy moments that is as or more um, conducive to trust than anything else. And so whether that's within myself, within my interpersonal relationships, within, my larger network of community, I think part of the path to trust is actually a willingness to show up through moments of discomfort, and to continue to try to show up with love and consistency. And sometimes that looks like boundaries. Sometimes that looks like a certain amount of distance. You know, I can't remember who, but someone who was very wise said, like, boundaries is the distance at which I can love you, you know. And so sometimes, those boundaries are big and wide and far, and it means like infrequency of interaction or pauses on interaction. But I think if underneath that is not like I'm ghosting, but I'm pausing, I'm giving space or breath to the possibility of renewal and reconnection, to deepening relationship. Because I do know that on the other side of the difficulty, of the discomfort, is something that is very deep and profound, and it's happened to me over and over again, both inside myself and with others, is that when I show up and I am accountable to the relationships, the trust deepens, the relationships deepen, the love deepens, the sense of commitment deepens. So yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, those are conversations that we have at home as well. Trusting's, that means the whole trusting yourself to be able to trust others and stuff. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it just feels like the foundation for it all. And I love the way you connected it to boundaries, because, when I've made some hard decisions around particularly my first family, people would say, "Oh, you're running away." I was like, "No, I'm trusting myself for the first time in my life." Like, and it's, right. So wait, no, this one.
Oh yeah, that one.
So the meta theme of the whole kind of Grounded Futures platform, where we do a lot of different shows, I do it with my with Jamie Lee and Melissa, shout out, is this idea of thriveistance. So this idea of like thriving amid the horrors and hard times and challenging times. And definitely anytime I'm walking through Strathcona and I see you or with your lovely child or whatever, just thriving is one of the words that bumped into my head. But we like to share, and hopefully you'll want to share with our listeners some of the ways you do cultivate thriving in the everyday moments, pockets.
Yeah, it's so funny. Immediately, I just thought about vegetation. Immediately, I thought about, the garden, which could be very like literal, but also could be metaphoric. I want to tend to something. I want to grow something. Again, I'm starting to feel verklempt. I'm feeling like, oh yeah, I want to grow my friendships. I want to grow my family. I want to grow my community. But I also want to grow that kale. Yes, I also want to grow that garlic, and I'm like, I think that the idea of stewardship, when we think about indigenous peoples on these lands, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh people here, uh, I think about what it means uh, to love into existence. It's funny. I often talk about ancestors in that way. Who are the people that help to love you into existence? And I don't mean like biologically, although that could be the thing that you reference when you think about, what helped to, or who and what helped to love you into existence. But I think about, what does it mean to be a person like that? What does it mean to be a person who is actively participating in trying to grow things, relationships, understanding, love? Um, I think that's probably what you're seeing, and I'm telling you right now, it's not always graceful. It's it's like sometimes I cut myself, sometimes I bruise someone, and I I can't tell if it's just me or if I am or if it's if it's hubris on my part to think that other people must feel things that are similar to me. Like when those bruisings happen, or those accidents, or those flights of anger or frustration come out, and I'm doing the opposite of growing the thing. And it could be because of these external forces. It could be because, oh, I got to work so hard in this city just to survive. Because this is the world that's been made and created, um, that I allow myself to actually feel what that feels like, and I believe that other people feel that too, and we're all kind of longing for a bridge or a path to healing and regrowing, or tending to those ruptures of relationship.
That was amazing.
I,
Beautiful. Every time you say something, I'm like, how do I reply? That was really good. You said everything. I was like, whoa.
yeah, and also like just keep with the garden metaphor. I
Mhm.
mean, compost is stinky.
Mm,
Like it's just
that's sweet funk.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
those hot spots and hard spots of tending. I love it. What a beautiful way of. I love the
Mhm.
idea of connecting, like tending to our relationships and to each other
It's
and
just
to the
like, yeah,
land.
that poster over there. That's
Oh yeah.
from the soil.
Oh, friendship will be the soil of the new politics from
Yes.
Ivan Illich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a poster that
Yeah.
says that on it.
Yeah.
Reminded me of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, this.
Okay. Now we are wondering though, what are you planning on working on next? Like what's
What are you excited about? What are you
excited
doing?
about?
What are you doing? Tell us, tell everybody.
Yeah.
As much as you want.
Yeah. Yeah. When is this coming out?
Probably early next week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've got a book um that's out on Talon. Um I got a foreword from Cecily Nicholson, Governor General awarded author, writer, um,
Yeah, she's
heavy
incredible.
thinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's co-written with Andrew Kushner, uh, writer, director, dramaturg, actor, out of Toronto. Also somebody who's deeply committed to like working towards justice, to uplifting and highlighting um, the power of people who are moving through thrivistance.
Yeah.
I like to build new words.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, but it's a book called Moving the Center. Um, and it has two plays as the pillars, one being Freedom Singer, which is connected to my work, and then one that is called Small Acts, which is connected to Andrew. And then there are 2 essays, one that he writes, one that I write. And then in the center of the book is a central conversation between the two of us, talking about theater, talking about community, arts practice, audience, you know, how to build bridges across difference. Yeah. So that's a thing.
Sounds incredible.
That's
And is it
amazing.
out now?
It is. It is.
Yeah. I am
Nice.
off social media, so I often miss things unless I
I haven't talked about it yet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear you have a book. That is
Yeah.
just delights me and everyone who's involved.
Mhm.
And besides that recommendation, one of the things we do offer our listeners are recommendations.
Cool.
But it can be any genre, including books.
Wow.
And it can be a mix of, or you can speak to stuff that inspired you early on in life towards this path, or stuff you're currently reading, a mix of both. Podcast, music.
What do you think would be good inspiration for others?
For youth.
Yeah.
You know, feel free to share a few.
Wow. I'm going to say the water, like bodies of water. I'm going to ask people to engage with bodies of water as instruction for how to be in the world.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is the best answer.
You know, people don't win or lose in my paradigm world, but man.
That was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I'd also encourage people to do with their own, like maybe journaling practice or something, or I don't know how people have different ways of engaging with this, but to take a moment to think of all the times you were wrong about something, and that you grew your understanding from the place of realizing your wrongness. And the reason why I offer that is, I think anytime we get into a place artistically, socially, politically, where we don't remember how we grew our understanding, the stumbling, the flailing, the missteps, the misunderstandings, that we can really become full of ourselves. And I think there's something that is so important about humbling ourselves before one another. It's very easy to have ideas about how people should be, about how we inside ourselves should be, so that we set up ourselves and others for failure. And so really trying to meet yourself and others where they're at is why I offer that practice of just remembering all the times that you were wrong-sighted, wrong-footed, or had some like really weird idea about a thing, and then you're like, oh wow, I don't think that's actually the best idea. That I think it's powerful because it actually provides this, like, one thing is that it's humbling, but the other thing is that, like, I can grow my understanding, I can grow my relationships, things can actually become better, I can become wiser and stronger and more flexible. This is beautiful. As long as you don't feel like you have to be perfect all the time, then you can come to that, but I think anyway, those are my two: water and list all the things that you've been wrong about
Those are amazing recommendations.
Oh my gosh. When I was on social media, I think all I mostly posted was water, roses, and acorns.
Yeah.
Mm.
The ocean. all
Beautiful.
water, sunshine. Yeah.
And
That's
it,
amazing.
I love that you brought that up. The show that's on hiatus, that the other show on our platform called Silver Threads. This is the reason why we did that show. We did that show so that long-term organizers could share their stories of mistakes, failures, and joys.
Yes.
Because I think there is there's a desire, and it bleeds out of individualism and celebrity status, to pedestal people when they are sharing an idea. And yeah, and I never really thought about it as a practice. So, like
That's
people would
amazing.
share. So this is it's just sewed up a whole pile of stuff for me. And I'm really, I'm looking forward to doing that practice. What a gift. And wow,
Yeah.
it's everything.
Hey, can I read you the first paragraph from my essay in the book?
Please. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I love when folks read from their books on our show.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to take me 2 seconds. I just got to run and fly and grab the book. Okay, be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Just for your benefit, this doesn't need to be necessarily for the listeners, but it actually opens with an epigraph of a poem from Lucille Clifton. And it's entitled Blessing the Boats. So this is just for you. This is a little gift just for you too. May the tide that is entering even now, the lip of our understanding, carry you out. Beyond the face of fear, may you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water waving forever, and may you in your innocence sail through this to that. So the name of the title for the essay is How Do We Get From Here to There?
That is amazing.
Are you sure I can't share that?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is from the thing you just read was from
Lucille Clifton. It's an epigraph. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Okay, so how do we get from here to there? And by that I mean, how do we become what we are longing to be? How can we become wiser, more generous, kinder, more thoughtful, stronger, more flexible? I think the path is iteration, trying over and over again, making mistakes, revising, regularly adjusting our tack and trajectory. A metaphor I like to use to describe this existential journey is that of walking. As infants, many of us learn to walk, driven by the will to explore ourselves and our relationship to the world around us. It is often a clumsy and hazardous effort. What is remarkable is that those who witness these events are often drawn to cheer for the one who tries with great effort as they fail, falling victim to gravity over and over again. One way of understanding what is happening is failure. Another way to understand what is happening is iteration. What is walking after all? Isn't it the graceful act of catching yourself over and over again as you fall? Shouldn't this be the way we understand the practice of art making? Shouldn't we have permission to try, to find grace as we stumble forwards, compelled by the curiosity and the desire to understand ourselves and our relationship to the world around us? This is what art is for me when I allow it to be. This is what Freedom Singer was and is for me.
Wow.
That was
Stunning.
beautiful.
I love walking, and walking as a metaphor, and walking is just, that's beautiful. Thank you. I can't wait to get that book.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you for your time. Oh, what a joy to be with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, same. And before we go, though,
Oh, I wanted you to tell folks how they can find you or your work.
The book, your music.
Yeah, for those that are wanting to engage with the work, moving the center, you can go to Talon's website, put in moving the center. You can put my name in, and it will come up. But also, if you live in the area and you want a copy, you can go to Massey Books in Chinatown. They are amazing. Yeah, I'm also doing some instruction for a few courses at SFU. So if you want to engage in a kind of more educational setting, community capacity building is an incredible program that really seeks to highlight the wisdom and experiences and knowledge of people who are generally not accredited by universities. You'll be amongst people who have incredible wealth of knowledge, but it's not necessarily certified with a PhD. Not that there has never been a person with a PhD in that class, but it's like people who are just so rich in community capacity building. So as much as we are instructing the course, we are being instructed by the participants who all have done incredible community work. And we're as a cohort and as a group just learning from each other, and you know, it's it can be a path for some others who want that kind of accreditation to have it. So that's one thing that we're doing at SFU. I'm also working in instruction through the School of Dialogue around public engagement, civic engagement, and facilitation. So for folks who are wanting to do that sort of thing, they're very short courses. CCB is 6 months, but the other two courses are relatively short. And yeah, you know, I'm still doing music here and there. I'm probably going to have some more music coming out before too long. And yeah, you know, yeah, just growing this family over here. That's kind of the main thing that's happening right now. It's the focus with so young a being in the house.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll throw all those links in the show notes for folks to, and
Cool.
including your website. And yeah, this was beautiful.
Yeah, really
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. What a gift to spend time together. I miss you.
Yeah.
And I miss the thistle too, as you know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, as
I
you
know.
as soon as you said it, I was like
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
yeah.
I imagine y'all are gonna do something cool with your growing of your home family and the kids around you.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
where the thistle came from. You know,
Yeah.
it came from parenting and being in community with youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. And you know, as a total aside, a thing that I got into during the pandemic, which I never would have imagined myself doing, is sailing.
Oh wow, cool. Water.
Water.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in like trying to figure out how to make it be more accessible, because I think the way that I thought about it in relationship to myself and the communities that I've grown in and come up in, it seems inaccessible. But I'd love to figure out ways to especially engage with young people in the water, and to figure out ways to make that space more and more accessible, because I think it provides like this really precious connection to the natural world and the natural forces that are active on the world. And I just never can think about anything troubling when I'm on the water, because I'm just really engaged with what I'm doing, which
Right.
has the consequence of great peril if you do not.
Right. Yeah, it's the ultimate act of having to be present. There's
Yeah.
no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I love
and,
it.
and even when I've got a life vest on and I got a like if I'm sailing in a dinghy or something, small boats, that I still just kind of know, like, this is really important. I have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the boat itself responds.
Yeah.
When I'm present, it does the things I need it to. When I'm not, it doesn't.
Exactly.
And so, anyway,
Yeah.
that's something
folks out
that
there
I'm
listening, if connect, because I agree. What a beautiful thing to do.
I'm excited to. Yeah, if you are curious about sailing and you want to contact me, please do. Instagram is actually probably the place where I have mentioned this the most publicly. It's I go by Khari, IGOBYKHARI.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to go out on the water or talk to you about the water or the boats.
Hey, and that's also a skill.
Mhm.
It's a skill sharing, skill gaining thing that it connects to climate catastrophe. Like it's actually it's a viable skill to train and to be part of, and
100%.
considering where we live. So I think there's your fingers on the pulse of
it started
big.
It started at the beginning of the pandemic. My curiosity and my interest grew through the pandemic, and just being like, oh, this is actually a survival skill, and what if the roads didn't work, and what if
absolutely,
how would you get from here to there?
Share food and resources. Oh, it's
totally
beautiful.
yeah
I look forward to hearing and seeing more of that.
Okay, lots of love. Thank you for everything that you both are doing. It's so wonderful to be with you both, and what a real pleasure just to be in conversation.
Thanks for listening to our show. Grounded Futures is a media production and mentorship collaborative, and this podcast is produced by Carla Bergman, William Joy, Jamie Lee Gonzalez, and Melissa Roach. And our sound tech is by Chris Bergman.
Resources and transcripts for this episode are in the show notes. If you want to donate some funds or check out our other awesome shows, head over to groundedfutures.com or email us with comments and suggestions at groundedfutures@gmail.com. And please tune in next time to hear more from our incredible guests on how to thrive in the everyday.